Hello, hello, hello. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. This is now Mohammed Shillon in North Carolina on VOS, um, coming to you now. So, as usual, most of our listeners them know the rules, but we'll be hold off for start usually at the time we can start because of the World Cup soccer game will be to take place between Spain and Germany. So figure say some people who might want for watch this show, we on show, might be conflicted because they get for watch the soccer game. So we start now about nine, almost 9:30 uh, Freetown time, which is the same as England then time. And so we hope we not cause anybody too much stress by thinking that we're not to come on today. We'll come on soon and now we're starting, so we'll not lost anything. So as usual, every now and then we can try to get a guest or two. Today we have in mind to have two guests on the show, but it may well turn out to be one guest. But we have a very able person we go help with for analyze and dissect a lot of things what happen in Sierra Leone. Among the topics then what we deal with today, now the proportional representation issue would have become a big cry in the country in terms of whether the government get the power for do that, or the government not get the power for do that, whether it in the constitution, whether it in the constitution. So that don't lead to parliamentarians then go into blows at the parliament, where now this proportional representation, and they lead to that. And then we get, luckily, we get someone who knows a lot about the system and why we system not to work as efficiently and what we can do for help the system for work better. And also we get few videos them for illustrative purposes where we go show now. Like for instance, where we the weaponize with police, we guess today we'll talk about uh, the function of the police and there is the efficiency of the police or the inefficiency of the police and the reason why we need for do better, we need for train with police them better. So we're lucky today for get someone in the name of Mr. Victor Mangot, who is almost an expert, someone with a lot of experience behind him, with a work in British Parliament and an expert in so many things in traffic, organization or administration, and so on and so forth. So now we will talk to we all today. We'll ask some questions and when I know the rules. Please call in and ask questions. You get 3 minutes, 15 seconds. So organize your questions, not spend too much time in the comments, then you want to ask question, then tell me no good for answer. That's one. Two, if you they talk and the buzzer come on, now an indication for say you don't run out of time. So the best you could do now for wrap up, we'll give you 15 seconds for wrap up what you to say. Then you can go back in line if you get plenty more for say and call back in. So we're not going to hold other callers there too long on the line because it's important. Let's say if you're number 5 or number 6 in line, and then we allot 3 minutes to everybody. So if you're not the sixth caller or the fifth caller, you will have to spend at least 15 or more minutes on hold before we get to you, assuming that we enforce the 3 minute, 15-second time limitation. So we just want to understand. So if the buzzer come on once, it come on twice, please cooperate with we. Just say goodbye and call back if you get more for say. All right. So, and when I also understand the rules, the rules are pretty easy in that active participation in a live show. So we try for let everybody get in a word or two. And if you disagree with the host or a guest, just be respectful. That's all we require, just as we will to honor the callers. As long as we have this mutual respect, the show will go on well, and we all go benefit from each other. Okay. Last but not least, we get some numbers then where we can I can always remind people them for call, just in case they want calling. The numbers and they show up now on a screen, but just in case you know to see the number, make I repeat them for una. The toll free number now 1-866-944-7722. 866-944-7722. There's a 1 in front of the 866. The 866. The UK number now plus 44 2080891455. For the UK, plus the sign plus 44 2080891455. And for Australia, the sign again, the plus sign 61 29 09 84 337. For Australia, now plus 61 29 09 84 337. And then the WhatsApp number, if you would, particularly if you would in the United States, but from anywhere, the WhatsApp number is 1-343-997-5828. 1-343-997-5828. So you're not going to see we now Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. So when I can follow we on all them medium then they as una wish. So back to the topic. Let me welcome Mr. Victor Mangot. Now we main host on the show today, and for una we'll go on for follow up after Ido talk to win at this show. They get a show where they do himself on VOS. So I hope he go tell you now when that they come up, what time, and which in go describe and better to now. So with that said, welcome, Mr. Mangot. So introduce yourself, sir.
Oh, very much, Mr. Shilon, and also I can always thank VOS for giving this platform for how we discuss matters that were relevant to the country and pertinent. I mean, for me, I wear so many hats. For people that we don't know, we know they watch me show as well. Me now Victor Akumengot, where my principal area of specialty na transportation, highway, and traffic engineering. But also I get a lot of interest in governance, and I don't work as a governance expert in a different country, even in Sierra Leone. And that interest they come from my background, where I was fortunate enough to work in the British Parliament for about 8 years. Although the main part I'm in transport, but me work na me for work with the committee and advise MP them how for review and make laws them. So waiting at the relevance to Sierra Leone. The relevance to Sierra Leone is that that is where we'll start. Sierra Leone, we follow the British system, which is the Westminster model, when I am most Commonwealth country than they use. So we will get a system where you get parties them, where the party leader, who was the prime minister, now they be the head of government. But then the head of the whole state at the time was the governor general. So we get a system where party then they submit candidates for elections, and the leader of that party, they become the prime minister, and the members of parliament also are be appointed as ministers. Now the system then the way we get. Then when we change to a Republican constitution, Republican system, that is where the problem lies. With parliamentary system still based on the Westminster model. Why I say so? You still get a speaker, just like England. You get the clerk of parliament, when I responsible for the proceedings, just like England. You get the sergeant at arms, when I responsible for security, just like England. They will get that thing we'll go talk about what they call the mace. The mace.
The rod of authority.
the rod of authority. And then they, when Parliament they sit, you can see the sergeant at arms, now they carry that mace, they go lay them before Parliament. So without the mace, no proceedings, no legal. So all the system they now we get them from the British system. But when we get the 1991 Constitution, a hybrid constitution, where the parliamentary system is modeled under the British system, but we executive is modeled like the American system. So we get a supreme president, right? We get supreme executive powers. The president, they appoint so many people, now get to parliament. The president, now they appoint ministers. And this time the changes, we're not there like before. Ministers now parliament. And the law say, if you be not win parliamentary seat, then they appoint you as a minister. You therefore resign that seat. So that seat becomes vacant. You'll get a so what's not the problem with that? You know, when the minister then be member of parliament, then they go parliament all the time. It's easy for them to summon them for answer questions. Now when they don't they outside, we're not a member of parliament, the speaker or a committee chairman get for invite them, summon them, like how they go summon somebody from the High Court. Well, we all know we system. So minister then they will cooperate, some they will not cooperate. I can give example. There was a time when they summoned the bank governor for talk about the currency and the inflation and everything. The bank governor not turn up, but the officials then turn up. But when they turn up, they say that the bank governor they want to talk to. So forget the bank governor come, parliament get the power, then detain officials the way he said. So when they don't detain the officials, he had no choice but to come to parliament and answer. So that's how powerful parliament is. So that's the system we have, where you have now this hybrid constitution, where you get the American executive system, you get the British parliamentary system. That in itself is a problem. But today, we'll not go far too much of that. The purpose we want to talk now, we want to talk about the PR system. What in PR mean? It means proportional representation. And let's go back to history, how we come. The first time when they introduced the PR system, it was 1996, just after the war. Prior to the war, we get NPRC. When a military government, they suspend the constitution. So we're not being no constitution. People let me scatter all over the place. So we're not being get constituency. You had a lot of refugees there. When people they move from upline camp, Freetown, some places they not be accessible. So forget the election day. They say, okay, let's go with a proportional representation system, where they call the district block system. What does that mean? Each district then take the population. They say, okay, this district, now this amount of seats you go get. So the parties that we contest means say the party then they get list from number 1 to 10. So it means they get a threshold. So it means for instance, the recent one where they set, if your party gets 11.9% of the total district, that means you don't allocate to one seat. So the proportion of votes you get 9 and the given seat. That is how the district block system works. It works well that 10 day, because that 10 day we get new party, that 10 day the APC come back into being. We will get Dr. Karifa Smart Young Party. We will get PDP Sobe. So those were the parties who contested it. So that's the first time we introduced PR. But at the time we introduced that PR at the time, it was not part of the constitution. So it was like a way for get the situation for local election and arrange everything back to go to the old ways. So the next time we'll ever use PR system was in 2001. That's for the second election. At that time, when they used the PR system, they mean for do a constitutional amendment. What do I mean by that? Because the Constitution, Section 38, 9 talk about how you elect members of parliament. With Section 38 say, first you get constituency. Secondly, each constituency be represented by parliament. So we get 132 members. So the party them, now then they choose who that they represent them in the constituency. And that system there, how it works. Then you also get independent candidates. We don't join party, we can stand. So we get a situation, even in the last election, where somebody there, in party no get a symbol, it decides, say, in the go independent. And we get two people that will win under that system. You get some other man where he cross carpet, he come up from one party, go to the other party, so in favor of, he go to the other party, then get a symbol. So that's not the first past the post. That's not the primary section of how we elect. So first, we get constituency. And how do you get those constituency? Why we not been get constituency 2001 is because we not been doing a census. Because at the census you do, get the population census for know almost people in a district, and from that you're able to determine people per constituency. So 2001 we not been get census yet. Yeah. So they decide, say, let we use the PR system, but this time it will be part of the law. And what you can do? Then get what you call a constitutional instrument. A constitutional instrument is when you add to a constitution. But for change constitution, if you want to amend the constitution, you get certain clause in there where you can amend them clause in there through parliament, but you get forget a majority, which means 2/3 of the parliamentarian get for agree. But you get some other clauses, which are like entrenched clause. And I can give you an example. Because we get a system now where you only stand for president if you are represented by a party. So if you want to change that system there and do like the American system, we go allow independents then for stand as president, that is an entrenched clause. So it means to change an entrenched clause, you get for going to referendum. That's the difference between an entrenched clause and a clause which is not entrenched. So what they did, they had a constitutional amendment where they call it section 38A. So now an addendum, now additional election to 38, we talk about first past the post. 38A deals with only constituency. So now I bring the district block system. We mean say now, every party go get a list from number 1 to 10. So if for instance, there are 10 seats in the district and your party get 50% of the vote cast, that means you will get 50% of the seats. So that's how that system works. So, but when they introduce them, then put conditions under which we can use them. We can only use them if we not get constituency. That means we not get census, because they start with the census data, then they determine the population. Then